the comedy snobbery.
Yeah.
I do love Taylor Tomlinson though.
Oh, be still my heart. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're big Taylor Tomlinson fans in the Coob household. We've been trying to go see her. She basically tours in the Midwest. That's
she's coming to Vegas. She's coming to Vegas in November, but tickets are like $100, and I'm like,
yeah.
oh, but
Yeah.
I don't know if I can find a connection, maybe I'll go.
Her crowd work is really good. I really like her crowd work. This is a rolling start. Thanks for hanging out with me and Tom from Unabated. We are doing this Wednesday live stream. Welcome to the show, Dan Coob from Sport Trade. We have to start with breaking news into the program. Breaking news into the program. America's girlfriend, era's legend, Taylor Swift has been quietly hanging out with Travis Kelce, which is a term that has been sheepishly whispered by awkward high school males in dating circles for decades. We're just kind of hanging out with her. We're just kind of, on the low, just quietly hanging out. Tom, Unabated, your Unabated's version of Sky Moore. Your thoughts?
I mean, wow. I don't think that's a compliment. I mean, I definitely don't. I don't know if there's any actual truth to these rumors. Part of me hopes there is, because she's free from the chokehold of British oppression, and now she can overthrow British rule and come back to America. Dating a football player makes perfect sense here.
Was that a Scooter Braun shot? Is he English?
No, Joe Alwyn, her boyfriend, was.
Oh, I don't even know who that is. Okay.
But
your word for it.
I am a notorious Swiftie. Myself and Matt Peralta are probably the two biggest Swifties on gambling Twitter. But
please use this as your platform.
State your
case. Plead your case for Taylor.
My hope is here. I mean, I understand Travis Kelce, amazing athlete, fantastic guy. But I'm just saying, Taylor's on the market. I'm on the market. Let's make something happen here.
Wow. Well, you convinced me. If any of Taylor Swift's reps are listening to the show,
yes,
please consider Tom. That would be great.
I am sensitive. I enjoy long walks on the beach and nice martinis
and world tours. You will happily be a roadie for Taylor.
Oh, absolutely. If this were to happen, I am sure that Captain Jack would understand me needing to take every week off to go and just be part of this world tour.
Hey, I support it. I support you. I'm just working on trying to understand why this is not going out on Twitter, but it's going out everywhere else. I will attempt to figure that out as we continue on here. One other note, Tom. I said I wasn't going to do it, but I kind of have to do it. You're a Jets fan. The season ended after 4 snaps after several months of buildup. It's now been 44 hours or so since Aaron Rodgers snapped his Achilles. Your thoughts?
I have some thoughts that I can't say on air. I have some thoughts that I really should only say to my therapist. But at the end of the day, at least they made it quick this time. We didn't get our hearts ripped out in the AFC Championship. It was just right away. Like, you had the excitement of the season buildup, which I had already said. I have been on the record saying, I know this ends in disaster. I know this doesn't go well for us, but I'm happy that I get to be excited. I was happy that I actually got to enjoy the build up to a season for once, because it's been 13 years since I've been able to go into an NFL season saying, hey, it could be our year. And at least this time they were nice and quick about it. They just said, nope, you're back to it. But I got to feel something for one glorious moment. For 50 seconds, it felt really real.
A quick death.
Yes.
And a quick death to all of the Garrett Wilson bets people had out there, all the futures people had out there, and everything in between, of which I had several.
Yep.
So these things happen. It is what it is. Real quick, before we hop into our line movement, I want to talk about Manic Monday with you. Most tortured fan bases? Like have you now surpassed Minnesota? Like, is it done? Is it over?
I feel like we surpassed Minnesota ages ago.
Really?
I don't think it was really a competition.
And on Husky Park TV, our friend checking in. Hello, my friends, listening to the best app to bid and win. I couldn't agree more. I saw Eddie twice today. You really think that
Dan,
Minnesota has suffered less?
Dan, you know what everybody said immediately after this injury happened? Yeah, granted, yes, there was the oh my God shock and all of that. But one of the first things was, wow, it's just like Vinny Testaverde and Chad Pennington. This isn't the first, this isn't the second, this is the third time this has happened to us. Like, you can't make this stuff up. This is just peak Jets, and this is what we always get. Like we're a franchise so cursed that a freak injury like this to your star quarterback on the cusp of an incredibly promising season, this is just a thing that happens to us every 10 years. This isn't even a once in a lifetime kind of deal. It is every single time. There is always something. And Minnesota never had to deal with you had to deal with Brett Favre and then Aaron Rodgers in your division. But you know what you didn't do? You didn't cause that. Mo Lewis knocked Drew Bledsoe out of the game to put Brady in and launched us on a 20-year trajectory. Because of course it would be the Jets who would be the architect of their own suffering for 20 years. The last time we won a Super Bowl, we hadn't put a man on the moon yet. Like, allegedly. I get that Minnesota's still looking, but come on. It doesn't get more torturous than the Jets.
Allegedly put a man on the moon. Right.
Allegedly.
Right. Yeah. Allegedly.
You're one of those idiots that believes in the moon.
I'm not actually. I just, you've at least got a ring. I can say that. Minneapolis does it. They have nothing. Actually, frankly, I think the Lions are by far the most tortured because by this time every year, they're not even paying attention anymore. So it's almost like they don't even have a fan base. That to me would be my vote. Tommy, you unveiled a new series this week, Manic Monday, in which you are looking at line movement from the look-ahead lines and to see how the public is overreacting to them. Now, we don't have a lot of sample size after just 1 week of NFL football. So the overreactions have been cooking in the oven, and they are prematurely baked and taken out. So there's a ton of line movement going on this week. I want to talk to you about maybe some of the lines that have struck you as perhaps the largest overreactions in the week and sort of where we're sitting now.
I mean, I think a big part of that is the fact that when you look at this line movement, a lot of that isn't public overreaction. The line movement and the public narratives are really two things that you have to separate out from each other, because on the line movement side, this is telling you, okay, this is what the people who actually know what they're talking about are thinking. This is who they're high on. This is who they're low on. What I'm looking for when it comes to public overreaction is you're looking for that gut feeling where you're like, oh, how is that game only 3 points? Or how is that at this number? Because those are the games where you're questioning the market, and odds are the market are the ones who's right here. But there has been some interesting movement on some of these games. Like the Colts and the Texans, it moved from Texas -1 to Colts -1.5. It's notable that it crossed through 0, but in reality, that win percentage difference is only like 48 to 52%. It's not as big a deal as some of these other line movements we've had, including tomorrow night's game, which I personally think is the largest number that we've seen shift so far. The Vikings shifted from 7.5 down to 6.5 point dogs versus the Eagles this weekend. And that, to me, obviously, you've already missed the number if you're looking for the Vikings here. Yeah. And I'm not really inclined to bet against the market and take the Eagles 6.5 either. I think we're even seeing it dip down to some 6s here now as I pull up unabated.
Well, yeah, there's been some injury news for the Eagles. A lot of guys will not be playing tomorrow. Kenneth Gainwell is out with a rib injury. Yeah. James Bradbury is still in concussion protocol. Some guys along the lines with the Eagles. Nakobe Dean is now out several weeks. So a couple dings for the Birds here to drop that number.
Yeah, that's going to be a big problem there for them because, I mean, Justin Jefferson's hopefully going to have a good day for my fantasy team. And Jordan Addison.
Nobody cares. No one cares. Well, he'll be locked up against Darius Slay. Slay traveled against him last year and held him to, I think, 1 catch for 6 yards or something like that. So,
but the big thing there is that it's going to open up Jordan Addison here, who isn't going to have to deal with James Bradbury. So I'm curious about some of his props. I don't have any projection numbers or anything like that. I haven't taken a look into the market yet, but that's something to definitely keep an eye on.
So I also was looking at the Texans Colts game, and I have absolutely no idea. That game is just a complete stay away from me. I have no idea what to expect. I don't think CJ Stroud's all that good. I definitely don't think Anthony Richardson's all that good. And I look at the way Shane Steichen structures offenses. I feel like Anthony Richardson molds a little better. Like, they played pretty well against the Jaguars, but game in Houston, I really have absolutely no idea. One of the games that I think has been sort of interesting in terms of line movement has been the Saints. So the Saints opened up at some places as a 1-point favorite over the Carolina Panthers. That's now up to 3.5 in some places, and then back down to 3 at others. So at Sport Trade, at last check, we have this at -3.5 at +104. We'll discuss a little bit later in our week 2 edges why I like this so much. Do you think this is an overreaction to the Panthers looking horrible against the Falcons, who I also think the market sort of sees as an undervalued team?
I don't know, because I personally don't put a ton of stock in the Falcons. Desmond Ritter looked like Desmond Ritter out there. He doesn't.
Hey, come on now. Come on. I'm a Desmond Ritter guy.
I didn't say he's bad. He's just mid. That there's a difference between the two. I like what the Saints are doing. I like the Saints defense. I like Derek Carr, and Michael Thomas is still healthy. You got that for like maybe 1 or 2 more weeks here, so take advantage of it. Chris Olave is a fantastic wide receiver too. And by 2 I mean also because he is definitely the wide receiver 1 in that offense now. I mean, it's getting into the qualitative side of the handicapping for the game. I don't really love the 3.5 number, but the fact that I can get this at Saints 3, I like that. I can't get that at Sport Trade, obviously. If you're looking to bet the Panther side, Sport Trade is the place to do it.
Yeah, one of the largest market edges that I was able to find, thanks to Undebated and other tools, Panthers -2.5 at +186. That's a 4% edge on the market last time I looked. And another great one is Carolina outright, +160, 3.1% market edge in the state of New Jersey. Most of the market has the Panthers around +140. So if you think the Panthers can somehow steal this game against the Saints, you've got some market edge there. And if you're just an EV better, you've got some market edge there. But I tend to maybe look more into reality, not loving that one personally. One of my favorite lines of the week is actually if you can get the Saints at 3 and not 3.5. We can talk about that a little bit later. Another one that I think is interesting is, the Giants go out and get absolutely blasted on Monday Night Football by 40 points. The Cardinals play a competitive game on the road against Washington. And then, of course, all roads lead to the Giants -3.5 Monday, becoming 5.5 today. This game is in Arizona. So, I mean, people say, oh, well, teams traveling west to east is a big deal. East to west doesn't seem to be as big of an issue. But why do you think there's a 2-point line movement on this game? After, the Giants, were the preamble to the Stinkfest at MetLife.
Don't remind me. I think that this is the market reacting to the overreaction of what we saw from the Giants blowout.
Double reaction. Okay.
Because to be quite frank, I don't. The Giants, they got blown out on a terrible night in Dallas where they had 2 bad freak plays that immediately put him into a terrible hole in the blocked punt and then the pick 6.
Mm-hmm.
And the weather was terrible, and Dallas is a really good team. I don't think that this Giants team is anywhere nearly as bad as they looked in that performance. And the Cardinals stuck in there and hung around with the Commanders, who I'm also not incredibly high on. I don't think that the Massey Peabody rankings are updated yet for today, so I can't quite dive into those. I'll check them out in a minute here, but I personally believe that I still like this number at 5.5 because the difference between 4 and 5.5 is kind of negligible. It's not as big a deal as crossing some of the key numbers here. I think that this is a game where the market is saying that everybody else is overreacting to the Giants and that the Cardinals are still a bad team, and this team deserves to be a 5.5 point road dog.
Yeah, man, if you could have gotten them at -3.5, you're feeling great right now. You're looking at some pretty significant CLV, which on Sport Trade you can cash out at any point. Not to say that you would. We get pushback. I get pushback on social all the time. I'm like, hey, you could have cashed out that CLV. And people say, why would I ever do that? I'm not saying you would. I'm saying you can if you were so inclined. We ran the CLV report earlier this week, which was really interesting because it showed, average bet on Sport Trade is about $500. Average bet size, right? That we have people who bet $1 or people who bet a lot more than $1. The average of that is about 500. So that's roughly, on a -102, it's 50% chance. That's 10 shares, right? So the Raiders actually had the largest CLV of any team, assuming a $500 bet size last week in any market. That includes spreads, totals, that includes money lines as well. You had CLV that was approaching $90 before kickoff. So pretty impressive there.
Yeah, and I mean, when you talk about cashing out on some of this stuff, at that point, you're just not betting the game, you're betting the market, which you can do. You can do that if you want and completely lock in your profit or take your loss, or just if you're going to have a loss anyway, if you get the negative CLV, if you're so inclined, you could just play out the game and hope that the market was wrong. I'm not giving out the advice here. I'm just saying, again, this is what you could do, but it opens up to an entirely new kind of betting where you're just betting on what the market is going to do. And then you can cash out before the games even start, even if you're taking a loss on it.
Yeah. And we have customers who will do that. We have customers who have made a lot of money actually doing that in the NBA. So it's a newer approach, I would say, considering this hasn't existed previously to sport trades in-play betting, but something to look at. Something else to look at, Chicago and Tampa Bay. This total opened up Monday, Tom, at 43.5. It's now down to 41.5, and even at some shops, 41. Let me scroll down here and we'll check it out. Now we've got all kinds of alternate strikes here. So we have it at 41.5 at minus 102. And then it kind of proceeds from there. I think this is really interesting. When you're looking at price, one of ours is one of the best in New Jersey, as we've come to expect. Other places have this 41 at minus 112. Again, we have it 41 at even money. The unabated line comparison tool tells us that the sport trade line is better by 3 cents. So half a point extra, but it's better by 3 cents. I think this is perhaps a case where a market is overreacting to the point where a total just becomes too low. Now, Chicago sucks. Chicago sucks. Okay. But that means their defense also sucks, which means they're liable to give up more points. And I think this is a situation where you could probably get some good value.
I mean, certainly the market isn't saying that there's much of an edge here, but if you disagree with the market on that, I'm not inclined to bet against you there because of the fact that Chicago is very bad. And
well, it assumes, so okay, so the line's minus 2.5, right?
Yeah.
So it assumes a score of like 21-18.5.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Again, Tampa's not great, but professional team, good player. If they scored 20 against a Vikings team that is better, why can't they score one more point?
I think the market is a little bit low on the Buccaneers still, because you got Baker Mayfield, who's still a competent NFL quarterback. If I could have him on the Jets right now, I'd probably be pretty happy with that. And you've got Chris Godwin, you've got Mike Evans, and you've also got the fact that if they happen to pull out the same script that the Packers pulled out last week and are blowing this Bears team out, the Bears kept passing the football. They kept going for points, and you could get some garbage time touchdowns to put you over total 41 here.
Another game we're looking at here, which I'm really interested in, are the Atlanta Falcons. And I was kind of beating the drum for them last week because I felt the Panthers, I thought, were just talent-wise one of the worst teams in the entire NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought 3 was an absolute, you have to bet it. 3.5, I took it, but I didn't love it. Now they're going against Green Bay. They're hosting Green Bay. I'm trying to talk and look for their market here. They're going against Green Bay, hosting them. They've gone from minus 104 on the money line Monday to plus 111 on the money line today. They're also plus 2.5 for Atlanta, has gone from minus 133 to minus 113. So the market is moving towards Green Bay. And I'm contrarian here. I really think Atlanta is going to win this football game. I think the Packers are benefiting again from playing a team in Chicago that's bad. Again, I think that the market's reaction to the Justin Fields MVP tour was absurd. Guy had completed like 52% of his passes in his first year, like around 60% in year 2, but clearly they didn't trust him to throw the ball. They were down and they continued to run just like they did last year. And now we're looking at a situation where the Packers win big. Jordan Love looks really good, even with Christian Watson out, some injuries in their receiving core. And now they go to a Falcons team that is a big physical team. And if you've been following the Green Bay Packers for the last 15 years, which I have because I covered them 10 years ago, they're not a physical team. Defensively, they never have been. Nobody runs the ball more than the Atlanta Falcons either. So great spot for Atlanta, in my opinion. And as the market continues, I mean, we're on Wednesday. We've already seen, what's that? Minus 104 to a 15-cent move in favor of the Packers. Where this line ends up Sunday, I have no idea. But I'm not making this bet until Sunday. I want this to move as far towards Green Bay as possible before I jump in on Atlanta, because I think they win outright.
I mean, I think this guy, well, the market is certainly showing it's still only the win percentages here. We're talking like a shift from right around 50% to 48, 47. Like right. It's a close move. These numbers aren't as big as if this was at 3 and going 3.5 or 2.5 to 3.5. But I mean, I personally think for me, this is a game I'm going to stay away from because I like Green Bay in it. Okay. And I do like that the market is moving that way. But yeah, I don't really want to bet it because I think that this could be my overreaction game where I saw what Green Bay did to the Bears and I'm not too high on the Falcons. And I'm saying, oh, well, Green Bay is actually good now. They're still good. Bet them here. I could definitely see this being a Falcons outright win.
I think we should go heads up.
I just got done talking about how much I don't want to bet this game.
I don't mean in actual bets. I mean, we just between the two of us. I won't even give you. I won't even take the points. We can just go heads up.
We want to make a bet on the show here. What do you want to do?
I don't know. We can think about. We'll think about it. Then by the end of the program, we'll come up with something. How's that?
All right, because there are games I have a stronger conviction on. Like I'm double reacting myself here, where I'm saying this is the team I like, and also I think this is why I'm probably wrong. So,
all right. Well, you go ahead. What are some other ones that you're seeing?
Honestly, I personally think that we've overreacted a little too much on the Jets line, and this isn't me trying to be a homer here, taking everything out of this.
I had that one down here as well.
Yeah, because Zach Wilson is bad. I don't think that he's very good, but now he gets a week to practice with the first team offense. I think that this is more about 9.5 is a lot of points.
Yeah. So this was 6, I think, right? We've gone from 6 to 9.5.
Well, I mean, the move was a 6-point move. It moved from 3.
Oh, it was 3. Okay.
Yeah.
I unabated. I saw had 6 last, but yeah, so they're saying Aaron Rodgers is worth 6 points.
I don't think that the market is necessarily wrong on that. Like the Massey Peabody rating for Rodgers is 6 points greater than Wilson. So that tracks to me, in my opinion. But
you think that's an overreaction?
I don't think that. I think that he is worth 6 points. I don't like that this was already. I didn't like that Dallas was a 3-point favorite already. My personal thing there is, I think that this game is going to be slowed down to the point where, because the Jets defense is still legit. Yeah. And they can force turnovers. Dak Prescott likes to throw turnovers. And you've got enough here in the run game. You've got enough that the Jets are able to do here. I think that they can keep it close. And I think 9.5 points is just too large of a spread on a game that the Jets are going to try and slow things down, and that defense is still going to cause problems for Dallas's offense.
I look at Dwayne Brown. I look at Mekhi Becton, who I have to point this out every time. I know him, covered him at Louisville. Hell of a dude. They sucked on Monday night. And I know Zach Wilson's a punching bag, and it's really easy for people to make the mom jokes, the MILF jokes, and all that stuff. His tackles were so bad that every time he had a traditional drop back, somebody was rushing him and winning on 90% of downs. So I get it. It's easy to say, but the fact of the matter is the tackles suck on the Jets. So it's not really Wilson's fault, right? He had one throw I found in when he first came into the game where he could actually take his drop back, plant his foot, and throw the football. And it was like a 17-yard gain to Garrett Wilson. He's constantly on the run, constantly on the move. So hopefully Nathaniel Hackett comes out and changes that. But I don't think this is that much of an overreaction, because we saw what Zach Wilson can and can't do last season. Now, has he learned in 6 weeks of his internship with Aaron Rodgers how to become a much better quarterback? I doubt it. Again, there's no stats to back any of this stuff up, right? That's just what I'm perceiving.
Yeah, but I think that the flip side of that is the Jets didn't get blown out a lot last season. Like, they were in a lot of games. And I just think I'm looking at this defense. I'm looking at the line movement there. I'm looking at the fact that this is going to be a slower game. The game script doesn't lend itself well to a blowout here. And I think that the Jets can at least scrape by and make this interesting. Yeah, they'll probably blow it at the end and it'll be a 14-point loss and all those bets will be ruined. I'm probably not going to end up actually betting it. I might still bet
so
it.
You wouldn't take, okay, so you could have had Jets plus 3.5 last week. Now it's plus 9.5 and you're not going to do it?
I mean, last week Aaron Rodgers was going to be the quarterback in this game. There's a big difference. I was going to take Jets money line.
Everything you've just described leads me to believe that plus 9.5 is a bet you have to make.
Yeah, I might actually end up taking. I was actually talking with Spreadopedia about this literally right before we got on the show here.
And can you divulge? I don't want to steal any content.
He already took 9.5.
Okay, there you go. Now, do you think it gets any higher?
No. Not 10 would be a bridge too far. And the market isn't moving on this number. It's been what it's been for the past day. I don't see it changing.
I just want to look real quick. Let me update my odds on unabated. And I just want to make sure that if we have the best price on it, I'm going to say it. And if we don't, then I'm going to cut this out of the live stream completely. Let's see. Well, we have the best price on the Cowboys minus 9.5. So if you really want the minus 9.5, you can jump in on that. Let me pull it up here. The best laid plans, right?
Yep. I mean, I'll tell you, when I turn on my bet, because I have Vegas mode and States mode for my unabated screen. I wish I could just toggle between the two. Two presets. I'll have to talk with engineering about getting that. But the instant I change to whole country mode, it's just sport trade, all the best lines.
Yeah. Minus 117, plus 9.5, minus 117. Not the best number, but if you want the best experience, come here. Pursuant to that, Tom, I also have the funniest line movement of the week to me, which is Cowboys Jets. It opened up, the point total opened up at 40.5, and people still thought it was too high. It's now down to 39.5.
See, that's where I'm starting. I don't know. The Jets defense, again, they're good, but I think it's the flip side of it. If you think this is going to be a blowout, Zach Wilson creates turnovers, and the Jets defense create turnovers. Turnovers are very good for overs. Very true.
Very true. For whatever reason, that made me laugh. Okay, so you like the Jets plus 9.5. I might have. You know what? You're talking. I mean, I don't know. I was gonna say you're talking me into it, and then I had the image of me backing a Zach Wilson backed football team, and I just literally pissed down my leg. Like I don't think I could do it.
The other point there that Spread made to me: if your quarterback can't cover 9.5, you need a new quarterback.
Trade for Mike White again.
That would be great. I want to ride the Jameis coaster.
Oh my God, do you? I mean, what would you have to give up though? 4th, 5th round pick?
I'll take that.
Hey, you know what? Again, as a Garrett Wilson backer, I would love Jameis Winston.
Could you imagine?
Oh my God!
Every throw would be an adventure.
He would double up the next wide receiver and expected air yards, or whatever.
It'd be fantastic.
It would be amazing. We teased some of the lines we like here in week 2, some of the largest edges as well. Even gave out a couple. We mentioned the Panthers. I do like the Saints -3 against the Panthers. I do think the Panthers suck. So it's not like the better's better advice to like take -3.5. But I'm just a show host and I don't position myself as an expert. So I'm taking -3.5. So forget it. Again, if you do like the Panthers, the market edge does lie on the Panthers side. Panthers -2.5, plus 186, as I said, a 4% edge on the market, according to Unabated. Panthers outright, plus 160, a over 3% market edge in the state of New Jersey. Again, most on Unabated listing the Panthers around plus 140, so 20 cents better there. I just think Carolina, one of the worst 2 teams in the NFL with Arizona, almost zero offensive talent. I think the Saints defense is at least legitimate. Offensively, they beat a really good Tennessee team. That a 16-15 game that was super physical. And I think, at least in the NFC South, physicality is going to go a long way. So I like the Saints. I had them to win the division all season, or I should say all preseason. And that's a game that Tennessee usually wins, and they didn't. Now, Tannehill played horribly, but I think it bodes well for New Orleans.
And it's not like the Saints defense hasn't been legit for years.
Right. Yeah. Totally agree. And then, again, I mentioned all the Atlanta stuff that we're going head-to-head on, Tom. I like the Atlanta money line, again, plus 111. I'm going to hold on that until maybe later in the weekend to see what happens there. Atlanta plus 2.5, minus 113. We'll see if we can get that even closer. Under minus 110 would be great. We'll get that juice out of there. And then I think that's an opportunity to hop on that. As I mentioned, this is an unabated special that I found, and lines that I kind of like. I have lines that I love, lines that I like, and lines that I really want no part of. This is like somewhere in between the bottom two. Chiefs minus 3.5 this weekend is plus 104. It's the unabated special, a 1% market edge. Everyone's down on the Chiefs right now. All their wide receivers are terrible. Oh, I can't believe it. They're awful. They get Jacksonville, a team that I'm not that high on personally. Jacksonville toyed around with its meat against Indy over the weekend. They win by 10 points, but not impressive in any way, shape, or form. I don't think the Chiefs are bad just because their wide receivers suck. They're all going to come around. They're defending Super Bowl champions for a reason. They've won 12 games, 5 years in a row, or whatever that stat is. So this started at minus 2.5 at minus 120. It's now minus 3.5 at plus 104. Minus 2.5 still available, but it's kind of moving the wrong way. It's minus 144. So I still think even on the road, I just don't think Jacksonville's that good. There's nothing, stats behind it. Chiefs minus 3.5. They've had 10 days. Chris Jones is back. Travis Kelce presumably will be back. And he's now buoyed by the fact that his girlfriend is Taylor Swift. I think he's going to be singing Love Story on his way to the end zone several times. I think this is an interesting one.
I mean, this line has already moved to 3.5. Like I have 2.5. I took it.
You do?
I took it Monday.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
The line is gone that I took, but the fact that I got to bet, I loved it at 3. I'm not thrilled about it at the 3.5.
Anything 3.5, I don't like. I'm just presenting it to the audience.
Yeah. Like I feel like if you wanted to bet the Chiefs, your time has passed.
Yeah.
They still are probably going to be able to win it by a touchdown, maybe. I agree. This was one of the overreaction things where I think it was Stuckey who tweeted out on Sunday, can't wait to get lay less than 3 points with Patrick Mahomes this week. And sure, I was like, that is all the analysis that I need here. And I took the 2.5. The market is moving fantastically in my favor, which means Jaguar straight up is definitely the play now. But it's the Chiefs. Travis Kelce's going to be back. Those receivers you hope won't have total stone hands again in week 2. And Chris Jones is back. I'll take the Chiefs here.
Hey, Rashee Rice. Look out for Rashee Rice. He had a pretty decent opening there.
He's the only one that got his hands on the stickum.
Yeah. No, totally agree. Was more presenting that to the folks. That line is, as you said, pretty much gone at this point. So you missed the value there. All right. Any closing thoughts, Tom, before we say goodbye?
Why are the Miami Dolphins 2-point favorites in Foxborough? Oh, they've moved to 3. As a matter of fact, they've moved to 3 since I wrote this down this morning. So
did they?
Not loving the fact that I wasn't able to bet that, but alas, you can still get 2.5.
Sporttrade has them at Sporttrade has them at 2.5.
I would take that. I would take that and run with it real quick before it gets.
Let's make sure that's still there while we're still on here. I mean, we'll have the total regardless, or the spread rather regardless. Yeah, minus 117. So that's the best number at 2.5 according to Unabated.
Yep. I absolutely love that number. I'm very upset that I didn't take this morning at 2.
So we think that's Mark Goldberg checking in, one of our favorite customers, saying loves KC. Mark, do you like him at minus 3.5, or would you stay away from that one? Let us know. Do you think this is primed to move even more? I thought the Patriots looked really good defensively. I'm surprised this is moving so heavily in the Dolphins' favor in Foxborough.
I thought there was a gas leak at Foxborough last week with the decision making from both the Patriots and the Eagles in that game was terrible. I think this Dolphins team is really good. Really, really good.
Yeah, you go across country and take care of business against the Chargers, who I think are soft. Charmin soft. Mark likes it at 3.5. All right, Mark, to each his own. Tom says no, but you say go. So live your life. Yeah, I mean, Miami's probably going to be right there. I think the Bills, I was really not impressed with the Bills, obviously, at all. But Josh Allen in a game, he just kind of has to not make mistakes in, continues to try to be a superhero. And then that's why you see him go down in a game that they absolutely had no business losing. All right. Anything else?
I mean, Josh Allen is Zach Wilson with talent to play football. The decision making is the same.
That's not true. Come on.
This has been a problem his entire career, except that one good season he had. Like, this is who Josh Allen is. He turns the ball over a ton. Yeah. His decision making makes you go, what on earth is happening here? The thing is that sometimes it just works out because he's so good at football that he does something that's so terribly stupid, and then it just works, and you're like, oh wow, like he actually pulled it off. But a lot of the times it doesn't. And I've been on the Buffalo or frauds committee for a while here. I don't trust this team. I don't think they're actually as good. I think the Dolphins are a better team, especially at this point. Like, we'll see what happens when Von Miller comes back, but the defense is getting older. I don't think that the Bills' window to win is still where people think it is.
Think about what you just said. The defense is getting older, but we can't wait for Von Miller to come back.
Exactly. Right? Like, is he still going to be able to do what he was still good last year. They noticed a downtick when he went out. Is he still going to be that player? Because again, everyone on that defense is getting older, and Gabe Davis still hasn't materialized into the number 2 receiver that they thought he would. The run game still isn't there. I don't know. I don't know what this team does that the Dolphins don't do better.
Any thoughts on Ravens Bengals before we go? Let me pull up the line history here, because I think this is I mean, the Bengals, did anybody pay attention to the Ravens at all? They played the Texans last weekend. The Bengals obviously underperformed, but this thing opened up, it looks like, around 3.5. It flirted with 3 for like an hour or two.
Yeah, that's about it.
Stayed there.
That's about it. Like, the market says 3.5 is the number here. I'm inclined to think it's right. I'm going to stay away from this game just based on the fact that I don't know what the Bengals are doing yet. They start slow. They've started slow the past couple seasons. And I don't know. The Ravens did beat the Texans, but they didn't beat the Texans. You know what I mean? Right. Like, I want to see more from both of these teams.
A 25-9 final. Not all that awe-inspiring. Here's a good one. Again, thanks to Unabated, we've got a little bit of a market edge on the Titans and Chargers. I'm in on the Titans this year. I really like them. I thought, even though Tannehill played really poorly on Sunday, it's a Mike Vrabel coach team. I think he's a top 3 head coach in the NFL. I think they're physical as hell, and that's going to play, especially against a Chargers team that I think, again, is soft. Plus 144 for the Titans, a 1.3% market edge. That's on the money line. Everyone else looks to be around plus 125, plus 130. So a little bit of a potential EV there for people, again, on Wednesday, as we're looking at this several days from kickoff. So go ahead.
I'm inclined to go the other way. I like the Chargers. They're even money at plus 3 at minus 3 at Circa. I'm in on the Chargers. I think the Dolphins are good, and the Chargers played right there with them the whole game. They just charged it at the end because that's what they do. But like you said, Tannehill didn't play that well. I do love the Titans always. Mike Vrabel, they're the anti-Falcons. The Falcons are a team that for so many years would come out, and they always had a great roster, and they always ended up being less than the sum of their parts. The Titans team, it doesn't matter how good the roster is. Vrabel always gets the most out of them. They're always greater than the sum of their parts. I like them. I like the Chargers a little bit more here.
So I'm using the line comparison calculator here on Unabated. Sport Trade actually has the Chargers minus 2.5 here. Did I just lose it?
So my Unabated is telling me that, because I just ran the same thing before we started talking about this. I have them at minus 125.
Okay, I've got minus 2.5 at minus 127.
Okay.
When compared to, so the other books, FanDuel, DraftKings, sees compared to Circa's minus 3. Oh, I did the wrong one.
Yeah, the circa's even money minus
Yeah,
3.
even money. Yeah.
Which
So
would be
I don't know
2.5
if the comparison calculator is broken, but it's telling me both lines are great,
Yeah,
which could be the case. But they're telling me both lines are better.
yeah, we're working on getting that fixed. It's definitely happening, but mine isn't doing it. So I don't know exactly what's causing it, but it's telling me the 3 at 100 is equal to 2.5 at minus 119.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. I'm seeing that now too. All right. Well, there you go. So a couple things there. I'll just quickly recap some of the things we talked about. Talked about the Saints line movement. I like the Saints at 3. Again, we have it at 3.5 at Sport Trade, but the market edge lies on the other side on Carolina. We're head to head, Falcons Packers. So we'll figure out a bet between the two of us, and we'll see who has to pay up for that. The Chicago Tampa Bay total down to 41 at some spots, 41.5 here at Sport Trade. I kind of like that one, but again, I'm not married to it. And let's see, we talked about the Jets plus 9.5. Tom is in on the Jets plus 9.5 against the Cowboys this weekend. I'm not sure if I'm physically able and capable of backing a Zach Wilson squad.
If we're gonna make a bet on one of these games, I think I want the Chargers.
Okay, Chargers Titans.
Yeah.
Do you want the points or you just want to go money line?
I'll lay the points.
Okay. So I assume, are you taking -3 or -2? Let's do the Sport Trade line. So let's go. I'll give you the 2.5.
All right.
I figured you'd like that.
I would.
Right. So I've got Titans plus 2.5. You've got Chargers -2.5. All right.
For undetermined stakes.
Yeah, undetermined stakes. We'll figure it out. Tom, thanks so much for joining us, my man. Great job as always. Check out Tom's work all over Unabated, the Unabated podcast as well, which Alex Kane, our CEO, was a guest on recently. You've got Deep Left. You've got all kinds of things going on. Why don't you tell us where to find it?
Yeah, that's right. Unabated podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. I think I got us on Google now. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. Again, anywhere you want to get us. You can even find it on YouTube if you really want to see our ugly mugs on camera. But we also have everything that you can find at unabated.com. Always a fantastic source for all the EV that you could possibly want through football season here. And you can check out me and the stuff I'm doing at TV at Work on every social media platform, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Yes, I am on both Instagram and TikTok now for TV at Work here. So please go follow my work accounts there.
He is Tom Viola. Tom, thanks so much, buddy.
Thank you so much for having me, Dan.
See you guys.